So, good morning everyone. My name is Lalit Soni and you are watching Drishti IAS. In this live session, we will be discussing about the Indian Express newspaper, and today we will be discussing these 4-5 important topics over here, that is government subsidy on fertilizers. Then we will be talking about the ultra black Brazilian velvet ant. Okay, so when we are talking about this particular velvet ant, this is not in fact an ant. So, we will be talking about what this particular species is and why it is called as ultra black. Okay, because it can absorb the ultraviolet radiations, etc. So, we will be talking about that. Then moving further, Ukraine holds Russia's gas. Okay, so when we are talking about the Russia's gas pipelines towards Europe, so most 2 or 3 of them are passing through Ukraine. So earlier there was this transit agreement which was there and which has been refused to be renovated by Ukraine. So we will be talking about that as well. Then government subsidies on fertilizers, we will be talking about that. Recently on DAP, government has actually continued, or you can say extended, the subsidy which is being given by the government. So we will be talking about these 3 articles over here. Other than that also there will be 2-3 important articles which we will be discussing. Then here you can see explanation of the practice question, fact of the day, and the geography through maps. These sections will be covered by us in the end of the session, and then there will be a practice question for your you can say from your prelims sections, so you can actually attempt that question. Now we will be starting with the first thing, that is your government subsidies on the fertilizer. Before that, I would like to tell you that Drishti IAS has this new center that is in Noida, so wherein we are starting this offline batches for English medium from 9th of January 6 p.m. and for Hindi medium that is from 16th of January 11:30 a.m. For more information, you can call on this number, that is 87501 87501. Address is given over here, that is there in Noida sector 15. Okay. Now let's move further and start with the discussion over here. Government extends special subsidy on DAP, weakening rupees, upset calculations. Now when we are talking about the rupee, you know that we have discussed various times that rupee is being depreciated, or you can say the value of rupee is declining, because of which also there is some kind of impact which is there on the you can say your DAP, okay, or the fertilizers. Actually most of the time you will be seeing that some of the raw material has been imported in this regard. So that is why that is actually upsetting the prices. Prices are increasing because since the rupee is declining and imports are becoming you can say kind of expensive, and because of which the price of DAP is increasing, and that is why government has extended the subsidy a little bit longer, for at least you can say 1 year now. Cabinet note for continuing with 3,500 per ton subsidy. When we are talking about this particular DAP subsidy, you don't have to remember these numbers and all. Okay, just know that because of the rupee depreciation, since rupee is declining, that means that your imports are becoming expensive, and since imports are becoming expensive, prices of fertilizers, that is also increasing, and because of which government has to give this subsidy, or because you can say government has to extend the subsidy for 1 more year. Okay, here you can say the center has extended a special subsidy of rupees 3,500 per ton on diammonium phosphate, that is DAP. That is one kind of fertilizer which is there. When we are talking about India, there are 2-3 important fertilizers like urea, DAP, okay, so or MOP is there, so muriate of potash it is called. So these are some of the important fertilizers which are you can say kind of having prominence in the agriculture sector. So that is there. So for DAP they have actually increased the subsidy, or you can say extended the subsidy till from January 1, 2025 for a 1 year. Okay, so this was about to you can say end on the December 31st, but they have extended it for period of 1 year. Okay, starting from January 1st, 2025. Okay. Then it is aimed at containing any surge in the fragmented prices of India's second most consumed fertilizer. Most consumed fertilizer is urea, okay, and that is the second most consumed fertilizer. Now informally frozen maximum retail prices on all the urea fertilizer. When we are talking about the urea fertilizers, they have actually put a cap over there, and urea whose MRP has been statutorily fixed at 226.50. Okay, so that number you don't have to remember. Here what industry is flagging? Now what industry is saying that giving this subsidy will not actually give much of the help, cannot be much of the help for the industry. What can be done over here is that they are allowed to increase the price. Okay, so that is what industry is demanding. Here you can say the industry is underlining that the DAP imports will not be viable unless the government increases the subsidy or allows it to revise the MRP. Okay, so they are saying that this subsidy will not be viable because obviously exports are, you can say, your imports are increasing, you are keeping the same subsidy but you are extending the time period. Okay, now industry is saying that please increase the subsidy as well. The amount that is 3500 rupees per ton, you are supposed to increase that, then only these DAP imports can be viable, because globally you can see that the price is increasing. Okay, now let's move further over here. Second article over here is that rupees 824.77 crore fund to for tech infusion extension for 2 crop insurance schemes. Now here there is this crop insurance, that is Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana and restructured weather based crop insurance. Now these are some of the insurance schemes of the central government over here with respect to the securing you can say farmers. Okay, if there is some kind of calamity, if there is some kind of accident which is there, which because of which the farms are suffering, or you can say crop is suffering, in that case there will be this Fasal Bima Yojana. So you can say that it is some kind of insurance scheme, and this amount has been infused for technology integration and the, you can say, continuing these two insurance schemes. Now here we will be talking about the DAP subsidy continuation. I have already told you the import cost has increased because of the depreciation in the rupee. Okay, has surged due to the rupee's depreciation. Despite the weakening prices against the US dollar, the subsidy aims to prevent price hikes in fertilizer and the critical for India's agriculture. Now they are saying that despite the subsidy, okay, despite the, you can say, depreciation of rupee, they are going for the subsidy, and that will they are trying to curb the price hike. But again, industry said that only, you know, extending the subsidy will not improve the situation, because you have to increase the amount of the subsidy as well from 3500 per ton. Okay, so that is there. Other than that, one important factor over here which we have to discuss, that is the nutrient based subsidy scheme with respect to the fertilizers. Here you can see a fixed rate of subsidy in per ton or per kg decided on the annual basis being implemented since 2010. Now this is important, that nutrient based subsidy scheme has been implemented since 2010. Now it is implemented by the Department of Fertilizer, Ministry of Chemicals and the Fertilizer again. Now here don't make sure that it is not from the agriculture department or something. This is from the Department of Fertilizer, which is there under the Ministry of Chemicals and the Fertilizer. Okay. Now coming to the ambit of the NBS, here there are certain nutrients which are essential for the agriculture, that is your nitrogen, phosphate, potash and sulfur. Now considering that we are having some kind of fertilizers, three kind of fertilizers which are basic fertilizers in India, that is, first is urea, that is related to your nitrogen, then coming to the diammonium phosphate, that is DAP, that is related to phosphate, and muriate of potash, that is your MOP, okay, that is related to your potash. Okay, so these are the three you can say NBS or the nutrients which are under the NBS. Okay, for phosphatic and the potassic P and K fertilizer, it is there, does not include urea based fertilizer. Again, here you can see that they are not using urea based fertilizer under the NBS. Under the nutrient based subsidy scheme, we are having potash and the sulfur based potash and the phosphorus based nutrients are there, but you can say the urea based or the nitrogen based nutrient has not been covered over here, because for them they have already fixed the price. Okay, there is the statutory fixed price is there for urea, so that is given under that. NBS is available for the imported complex fertilizer except ammonium sulfate. So as I told you, most of these fertilizer, when we talk about the chemicals which are required for that, these are imported, and that is why they have gone for the subsidy. Okay, so because the prices are increasing. Now if we are talking about the nutrients, nitrogen main source is urea, phosphorus main source is DAP, and potassium main source is MOP, which we have discussed over here as well. Okay, urea is the most produced, consumed, imported and physically regulated fertilizer or of all. Mostly you will be seeing that most of the farmers which are there in the hinterland, they are using urea because they does not have much knowledge or the, you can say, information about other two DAP and MOPs, and that is why excess use of urea is there, and which is causing eutrophication, which is not good for the environment. Okay, anyways, aim is to ensure availability of the fertilizer to the farmers at the affordable price, increase consumption of the P and K fertilizer to achieve a NPK ratio, that is 4:2:1. Now when we are talking about an optimum ratio, there is this ratio that is 4:2:1, where we are talking about the fertilizer mix. Nitrogen should be there in 4 parts, then we should have phosphorus that is 2 parts and potassium that is 1 part. Now this is the optimum ratio, but right now nitrogen's use are far more than the potash and the phosphorus, and that is why we are trying to make sure that we increase the consumption of P and K fertilizer. So this is about the nutrient based subsidy scheme. One important factor over here is that out of the N, P and K, nutrient based subsidy scheme is for the P and K, because the aim is to increase the consumption of P and K. Okay, urea is not covered in the this NBS scheme. Okay, I hope that is clear. Now coming to the next one over here, 824.77 crore for the Agritech Innovation. So we have already discussed that. Here you can see the Union Cabinet approved the fund for the yield estimation system using technology, that is YES Tech. Now when we are talking about YES Tech, please remember that that is related to the agriculture. This is related to the yield of the crops. Okay, and weather information initiative to improve the agricultural productivity and the transparency. So here we can say that this is about the tech integration. Okay, then coming to the next one, that is, here you can say it includes automatic weather stations and the remote sensing technology for the better crop yield estimations. Other than that, we have seen that two you can say insurance schemes are there, for which they have actually talked about some kind of funds. Okay, one of them is Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana. It was launched in 2016 and it is being administered by the Ministry of Agriculture and the Farmer Welfare. Now when we are talking about the NBS subsidy scheme, that is being covered under the Ministry of Chemicals and Fertilizers. Now when we are talking about the Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana, that is administered by the Ministry of Agriculture and the Farmer Welfare. Okay, it replaced the National Agriculture Insurance Scheme, which was earlier there, and modified National Agricultural Insurance Scheme, that is MNAIS. Okay, so these two were earlier there, that has been replaced with the Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana. Now what is the eligibility? Farmers including the sharecroppers and the tenant farmer growing notified crop in the notified area are eligible for that. Again, notified crops should be there. You can say that the government will be coming up with the list, okay, under which if they are there, so for them they will be giving that kind of you can say insurance. Okay, now coming to the objectives are clear, that is the insurance coverage, financial support to the farmers in the event of the failure of any kind of notified crops as a result of the natural calamities, pests and the diseases, stabilize the income of the farmer to ensure their continuance in the farming, to encourage farmers to adopt innovation and the modern agricultural practices, and to ensure the flow of the credit in the agriculture sector. So there are 4 to 5 objectives. One is the insurance coverage, second is the financial support, okay, then third is the income of the farmer should be stabilized, okay, then the credit growth should be there, and adoption of the new and innovative technologies in the agriculture. Now these are the objectives of the Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana. So it is not limited just for the insurance, other factors are also considered over here. Okay, now we have talked about the fertilizers, we have talked about the Fasal Bima Yojana, we have talked about the nutrient based subsidy schemes. All these things are important from your exams point of view. Now let's move further to the next article. Center amends prison manual to address caste based inequalities. When we are talking about the prisons, there are prison modules which are basically governing the, you can say, conduct in the prison. Okay, now these prison modules are basically made by states. There is this model which is there, and then state will be going for the prison modules, because prisons comes under the state government. Okay, now the thing is, when we are talking about the issue of inequality, why we are talking about it is because in the prison modules there are certain words which are used which is problematic, okay, like mehtar, like you can say for the particular communities are mentioned over here for particular works. Okay, so this particular petition comes in front of the Supreme Court, and Supreme Court says that in 3 months you have to make sure that you are changing these prison modules and making them you can say you are removing the discrimination based on the caste over here. Okay, now this particular judgment was given by the Supreme Court, and on the basis of which the central government has actually gone for making some kind of changes so that this discrimination can be done away with. Okay, so here we will be talking about that. Okay, now here you can see the Union Home Ministry has amended the prison module rule to check discrimination and the classification of inmates in the jail on the basis of their caste. Okay, the Modern Prison Manual 2016, the Model Prison and the Correction Services Act 2023. Now these are the two things which are statutes which are governing the prisons, okay, or the conduct in the prisons. To address the issue of any caste based discrimination of the prisons, order of the Supreme Court on the caste based discrimination, we will be talking about this particular order of 2024 Okay, and here you can say the prison authorities will have to strictly ensure that there is no discrimination, classification, segregation of the prisoners on the basis of their caste. So whatever allotment of the work is there, whatever classifications you are doing inside the prison, that should not be based solely on the caste. Okay, there is no discrimination of the prisoners in the allotment of any duty or work in the prisons on the basis of their caste. So there should not be, you know, a particular community would not be going for a particular kind of work. Okay, so that is what has been ensured in these modules. Okay, now the Model Prison and the Corrections Service Act 2023 with a new heading. There is a new heading, that is prohibition of the caste based discrimination in the prison and the correctional institutions. Section 55A has provided that all the provisions of the Prohibition of Employment as Manual Scavengers and their Rehabilitation Act 2013. Now all the provision of this particular act will also be valid inside the jails as well. So here you can say the provisions of the Prohibition of the Employment as Manual Scavenger and their Rehabilitation Act 2013 shall be having a binding effect even in the prisons and the correctional institutions. Manual scavenging or the hazardous cleaning of the sewer or the septic tank inside the prison shall not be permitted. Okay, so all these things has been done by, or you can say some changes has been done in the prison modules by the central government. Here you can say Sukanya Santa versus Union of India and others. The Supreme Court has set aside the caste based discriminatory provision of the prison manuals of several states, which provided for the allotment of the work based on the caste of the prisoners and their segregation. So this is the name of the case, Sukanya Shanta versus Union of India and others. Okay, the court has declared these provisions are unconstitutional and order all the states and union territory to revise their prison modules within 3 months. Okay, in that regard they have come up with this. We will be talking about the judgment more over here, that is we will be seeing that which article of the constitution is getting affected over here. So here you can say the Supreme Court has held the caste based discrimination in Indian prison is constitutionally invalid, or you can say unconstitutional and violative of the Article 15 of the Constitution. When we talk about the Article 15, that is saying that the state shall not discriminate on the basis of the, you know, few things, among which one is caste. Okay, so that is there. The court emphasized that the Article 21, that is your right to life with liberty, okay, right to life with dignity and the personal liberty, that is there, also includes the right to overcome the caste barriers. Hello. So can you hear me now? I'm sorry, there was some kind of technical error. Can you hear me? Please tell me. Okay. So where were we? Okay, fine. So we were talking about the court judgment with respect to the Sukanya Shanta case, wherein the discrimination of the various caste in the prison module has been talked about. So here we will be talking about this again. Okay. So basically the Supreme Court has said that the caste based discrimination in the Indian prison is unconstitutional and violative of the Article 15. When we talk about the Article 15, Article 15 basically says that there should not be discrimination on the basis of few elements, few aspects. One of them is caste. Okay, so basically state should not discriminate on the basis of the caste, which has been said in the Article 15 of the Constitution. Other than that, also here Article 21 has been discussed, which is basically your article to right to life with the, you know, having a personal liberty and the dignity. So here that has also been discussed. They are saying that right to life with dignity is something essential to the fundamental rights. So that is also there. Then Article 23 clause 1, which is talking about the exploitation. Okay, so here they have said that provides for an enforceable fundamental right against the social and the economic exploitation. So these three articles has been discussed over here. So please note these articles because that can be asked in your examination. Here, Supreme Court condemned the prison modules for using the terms like scavenger class, criminal tribes, habitual offenders, and enforcing caste-based segregation for the cooking and cleaning. Okay, when you are in prison, so there are certain works which are to be allocated, and these allocation used to be on the basis of the caste. That has been basically condemned by the Supreme Court here. Assigning tasks based on the caste, like choosing sweepers from the specific caste, is now illegal. So that will not be done anymore. And Supreme Court has said that you have to come up with the new modules or change the modules which are existing. So which has been done by the you can say union government right now. So that is about this. We have discussed about the centers, amends, prison modules to address the caste based inequality. I hope that is clear. Now we can move further to the next one, that is talking about the Brazilian velvet ants, or the you can say ultra black Brazilian velvet ants. Here there is this picture which is given over here. So here you can see this texture is kind of velvet, and this black matte which is there, the color, that is ultra black. Okay, when we are talking about the color, there are various types of a color, like there is black, then super black, then ultra black. All these things are there. And considering that this particular ant which is found in the savannas and the grasslands which are there, so in these areas we are finding this ant, and this ant is basically not an ant, it's a wasp. Okay, now when we are talking about this is a wasps. Okay, so there is this class of bees, wasps, etc. So it is belonging from that particular class. Okay, and the name of that class is Hymenoptera. Okay, Hymenoptera class which is there, which is including your you can say bees, wasps, and ants. Okay. So under this class we have wasp, and this is one of them. Okay, here scientific name is given, that is Tromatomutilla bifurca. Tromatomutilla bifurca is the scientific name of this particular species. Now recently it has been in news because the scientist has figured out that this black color over here, that is not black, in fact it is ultra black. Okay, as I told you, there are different kind of black is there, ultra black, super black, black. So they are saying that this is ultra black and it has the capacity to absorb almost all kind of lights. Okay, so that is why it has been in the news. Now let's see what they are talking about over here. You can go through the article, but I have written this particular gist, what is important for you in this particular segment. Now velvet ants are not ants but wasps, named for their furry exteriors. Okay, so here you can say this furry exterior is there, and because of which they are called as velvet ants. The species Tromatomutilla bifurca, native to Brazil's tropical savannas and shrub desert, exhibit ultra black pigmentation. Ultra black pigmentation they have talked about over here. So we will be talking about the discovery of ultra black Brazilian velvet ant. Researchers discovered that the black section of the female velvet ants are ultra black, absorbing nearly all visible light. Okay, so this is the reason they are called as ultra black, because that is kind of absorbing all the visible lights. Okay, this is the first known case of the ultra black pigmentation among the Hymenoptera, that is the class of bees, wasps, and the ants, which we have discussed already. Now the ultra black effect is caused by the microstructures that absorbs light by trapping it, creating a matte appearance. Here you will be seeing there is this lustrous texture is given in the picture, but actually if you look at this particular end, you will be finding that this particular pigmentation is kind of a matte finish. Okay, you must be aware about the different kind of finishes which are there. There is this lustrous where reflection can be seen, then there is this matte finish which will be having a kind of texture which you get in your phones, etc. Okay, so that is about your matte texture which is there. Now ultra black effect is caused by the microstructure that absorb light by trapping it, creating a matte appearance, which we have talked about. Okay, so this is basically about the ultra black pigmentation of these wasps. Here you can say importance of the ultra black pigmentation. Simply it is when we are talking about the coloring in the various animals, that is useful various times, because if they want to hide from the predators. Okay, so here you can see commonly helps animals hide from the predators, regulate body temperature, and attract mates. In velvet ants it could serve as the defense mechanism, making them less visible to the predators, sensitive to the non visible wavelengths. Okay, Now ecological relevance, if you talk about, so velvet ants also rely on their hard exoskeleton and screeches for the defense. Ultra black may not always serve as a direct camouflage purpose, adding intrigue to the its evolution. Now they are saying that sometimes it might not be directly working as a camouflage or giving some kind of misinterpretation by when predators are looking at them. So it will not be working as a camouflage, but there are questions with respect to the evolution of this particular kind of finish. Okay, so that is about the ultra black you can say velvet ants which are found in the Brazilian savannas and the shrubs. Okay. Now what is important for your exams point of view is that where this particular you can say species is found. Okay, and with the name it is giving a name, you can say this is the name which can be considered as a misnomer, because it is saying ant, but it is not an ant, it is a wasp. Okay, so please remember that in examination that can be asked to you. Now coming to the next one over here, 2014 was India's warmest year since 1901. You can say here meteorological department has said that. Now India experienced its warmest year since 1901, beating the previous temperature record of 2016. Before that in India we will be saying that the warmest year was 2016. Okay, now that has been basically, you can say, record has been broken by 2024. So right now India's warmest year is 2024. Globally also this year will be considered as the warmest. Till now we don't have the official data on that, but it has been felt that it is the warmest year globally. Annual land surface temperature averaged over the country was up by 0.65 degrees Celsius, making 2024 the warmest in 123 years globally. Also the year has gone by was racing to become the warmest year, but the official announcement in this regard is awaited yet. Okay, so this is about the 2024. This is the warmest year till since 1901. Okay, that is something which you can mention in your answer writing, in your mains answer writing, etc. Okay, and why is that? That is because of the global warming and the climate change, as simple as that. Okay, now coming to the next one, Ukraine holds transit of Russia's gas into Europe and its supply dominance. Now they are having this transit agreement which was there between the Russia and Europe, despite the, you can say, 1,000 days of the Russia-Ukraine war. This particular agreement was still there, and because of which the supply of the gas was continued to Europe from Russia, and this was a major source of funding for Russia as well. But recently Ukraine has said that they will not be renovating this agreement anymore. Okay, so that is some kind of blow which is been given to Russia. Here you can say Ukraine holds the transit of the Russia's gas into Europe. Here we have Russia, and then you can see that there are two pipelines which are going through Ukraine, which is going towards the, you can say, Europe over here. So when we are talking about the country like Slovakia, Czech Republic, okay, they are dependent on Ukraine or this particular pipeline for their energy requirement. Okay, other than that, when we talk about the Germany, Poland, UK and other European Union's country, they have witnessed that the war is going on, because of which they have actually gone for the alternative routes. They have gone for the alternative source for the, you can say, energy requirement. So that was done, but the thing is still Ukraine has halted this particular you can say pipelines over here. Now here you can say Russia gas export via Soviet era pipeline running through the Ukraine came to an halt on New Year's Day, marking the end of the decades of Moscow's dominance over the Europe's energy market. Okay, most of the Europe's energy requirements are fulfilled by the Russia over here, and that is why mostly you will be seeing that in the geopolitics when it was asked that why India is supporting Russia, or you can say why India is taking imports from Russia, that is why one important argument was given that still you are asking about India, what about the European countries which are taking energy requirement, or they are taking gas from Russia. Okay, so first you have to look into your own house and then you have to talk about India. So that is what one of the argument which was there, and now Ukraine has halted that. Okay, now the gas had kept flowing despite the nearly 3 years of the war. The last remaining EU buyers of the Russian gas was Ukraine. Via Ukraine was Slovakia. Austria have arranged alternative supply, while Hungary will be receiving the Russian gas from alternative routes. Okay, so that is there. Russia and the former Soviet Union spent half of a century building this major share of the European gas market, but the EU has slashed its dependence on the Russia since the start of the war. As I told you, European Union has actually gone for the alternative routes because they knew that today or tomorrow these particular pipelines will be closed by the Ukraine. Okay, so that is there. But the EU has slashed the dependence on the Russia since the war has started. by buying more piped gas from the Norway and LNG from the Qatar and United States. Okay, so that is there. Ukraine, which refused to extend the transit deal. As I told you, there was this transit deal earlier which was there, and because of which these pipelines were working, now they have refused to, you can say, renew the transit deal. Okay, this is a historic event. Russia is now losing to its market. It will suffer financial losses. Ukraine will also suffer because Ukraine used to get $1 billion US fee for this particular use of these pipelines throughout their territories. Okay, so that is about this particular thing. Here you can see again these particular maps becomes important for you, that there is this Russia, then we know that this is Ukraine, this is Crimea, and when we are talking about this particular area, that is your Slovakia, then Czech Republic. Okay, so you can go through the boundaries over here. Now this pipeline, one of them is called as Brotherhood pipeline, and second, this here it is called as the Yamal Europe pipeline. Okay, so please remember the names over here. Now here you can see impact on the Europe. European nations have diversified their energy sources with the LNG from Qatar like countries, and you can see USA. Then gas supplied from Russia to Europe have been declining since 2022, with the major pipelines like Nord Stream damaged and other disrupted due to the geopolitical tension. Here one pipeline is there, that is your Nord Stream. Okay, so that is the red one over here, that is your Nord Stream, which has been damaged because of the war. Okay. Now here you can say Russia's position. Russia has redirected its gas imports toward Asia, particularly towards China. Okay, so obviously if Russia is not sending it to Europe, not selling it to Europe, that will be selling it to Asia now, because they will be needing alternative markets. So they have relied on China over here, but for that also you have to make a lot of infrastructure. So that is also one thing over here. Now Ukraine's stand, Ukraine refused to extend the transit agreement, which we have already seen, and it will be losing $1 billion US annually. Global energy dynamics, if you talk about domestic gas production in Europe and the renewable energy development, are seen long-term solution to reduce the dependency on the Russian energy. Now they are saying that you have to go for the domestic production of the gas. Other than that also you can go for the renewable energy, so that you can reduce the dependency on Russia. Okay, that is one thing. Second thing is European reliance on the alternative energy sources like LNG and renewable energy is increasing, which we have already discussed, that we are Europe is going to buy LNG from the Qatar, and other sources are USA, etc. Okay, countries like Germany and Austria are accelerating their transition to the greener energy. So basically Europe is also moving away from the Russia's energy sources. They are going towards the greener energy and alternative sources from like LNG, etc., from Qatar and USA. Okay, I hope that is clear. Now moving further here, new turn to Battle of Begums. Bangladesh rewrites textbook on 1971 liberation war. This is for your own read. If you are interested in the Bangladesh domestic politics, you can talk about this. Here what they have done is that when we are talking about the textbooks, so obviously there is this new government which is trying to erase the legacy of Mujibur Rahman. Okay, so basically they are saying now, earlier the textbook used to say that he has actually pioneered in the war of independence of Bangladesh, but now the textbook has changed the name. Here you can see the textbooks in Bangladesh will now state this Ziaur Rahman, not Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, declared the country independence in 1971. So they are saying that the person Ziaur Rahman, he was the person responsible for the declaration of the independence in 1971. The new textbook have also removed the Mujibur Rahman's title as the father of the nation. Okay, in Bangladesh, father of the nation was Mujibur Rahman. Now that title has also been removed. The March 26, 1971, Ziaur Rahman declared the independence of the Bangladesh, and March 27, he made another declaration of the dependence on the behalf of the Bangabandhu. Okay, so that is what has been talked about recently over here. Now, when we are talking about who was Ziaur Rahman was the founder of the Bangladesh Nationalist Party. Now, this is the clash of the domestic politics over there, which is there, and this is not the first time that you can say these particular the school textbooks are being changed over here. So that is there. If you are interested, go through this article. Otherwise, not very much important. Just know that the dates over here, that is 26th March 1971. That is important. The name, that is Mujibur Rahman and Ziaur Rahman. These names are important. Okay. I hope that is clear. Now let's move further to the next one. Now we will be talking about the essentials of the day, that is fact of the day, which we usually do. We have done the discussion of the newspaper of the day. Now fact of the day, here we are talking about the exercise Surya Kiran. Now this exercise is between India and Nepal. So this is a, you can say, annual exercise between the two countries and held alternatively one day, 1 year it will be in India, 1 year it will be in Nepal. Okay, so let's see the 18th edition of the Indo-Nepal joint training exercise Surya Kiran between India and Nepal is being conducted at Saaljhandi in Nepal in January 2025. So that is one thing. Last year that was conducted in Uttarakhand. Okay, in 2023 it was conducted in Uttarakhand. Military exercise, it is a military exercise. It is conducted annually between Nepal and India and held alternatively in the both countries. Okay, if you talk about the objectives, so here you can say enhance the interoperability on the counter-terrorism operations, jungle warfare, mountain operations, etc. Coordination in the humanitarian assistance and the disaster relief, and under the UN Nations Charter, and focus on the operational preparedness, aviation aspects, and the medical training and the environment conservation. So basically this is kind of a training exercise which is there, and this is to increase the interoperability between India and Nepal. Okay, I hope that is clear. Now here if we talk about India and Nepal relations over here, since we were talking about Nepal, so here you can say Nepal shares the 1850 kilometer border with 5 Indian states like Sikkim, West Bengal, Bihar, Uttar Pradesh and Uttarakhand. Here you can see when we are talking about this area, this is Uttarakhand, then you know that this is Uttar Pradesh, here we have Bihar, okay, this is West Bengal, this over here that is West Bengal, and this is Sikkim. Okay, I hope that is clear. Now we have one, 2 or 3 issues which are there. One is Susta issue which is there in Bihar. Then here we have Lipu Lake, Kalapani and Limpiadhura. Now these are some of the issues with respect to the you can say borders. Okay, because of the shift in the Kali river, these issues are there with respect to the Kalapani. And when we are talking about this Susta over here in Bihar, Susta that is there in Bihar, because of the you can say change in the course of the Susta river. Okay, so these are the you can say point of contentions. These are obviously India's territories which are being claimed by Nepal after they are having this influence from the China because of the KP Sharma Oli government over there. Okay, so that is there. Then India Nepal has a Treaty of Peace and Friendship which was signed in 1950, forms the foundation of the special bilateral relations. When we talk about India and Nepal, generally it is called as that India and Nepal has a relation that is called as Roti Beti ka relation, Roti Beti ka Sambandh. Okay, so culturally you can say that they are having some kind of affinity. Then Koshi agreement which is there, Mahakali treaty is there, and the Gandak agreement. These are with respect to the river water sharing treaties which are there between India and Nepal. Okay, I hope that is clear. Now coming to the next part of our discussion, here there are various exercises which are given and the countries are given. When we talk about Garud Shakti, it is with Indonesia. Equirin which is there is with Maldives, hand in hand with China, Kurukshetra with Singapore, Mitra Shakti with Sri Lanka, Nomadic Elephant that is Mongolia, Shakti with France, Surya Kiran with Nepal, and Yudh Abhyas with USA. So these are some of the important joint military exercises which are there which you can remember. Okay, now coming to the next part over here, that is your geography through maps. We have discussed the Himalayas. We have discussed the Himalayas, Trans Himalayas, we have talked about Shiva Lakes, Greater Himalayas, Lesser Himalayas, Purvanchal Himalayas, all these things we have discussed. Then here we will be talking about the Central Highlands and the Deccan Plateau. This is the peninsular India when we talk about, okay. So here we will be talking about the Central Highlands and the Deccan Plateau. Now if you see the Deccan Plateau, this is the oldest landform which is India is having, okay, from the time when the earth was built. This will be considered as the dating back to that particular area. Okay, so here you will be seeing that is a that is the plateau which is there. Here we have having this Deccan Plateau, and then these are the Central Highlands. Mostly you will be seeing that the you can say the areas like Vindhyans, Satpuras, all these things are basically over here. Okay, Gangetic Plain, we have talked about them yesterday. We have talked about the Gangetic Plains. Okay, and when we are talking about this area, that is your Western Ghats. Now if you see, Western Ghats are so eroded because of the action of the water. When we are talking about the beaches, you must generally have seen that beaches would be like this, and then these are the Western Ghats. These are the hills which are there. Okay, so because of which the elevation is like this, because there is a hill. Okay, these are basically your Western Ghats. Now because of the erosion, these beaches has been eroded till over here, and now these Western Ghats are directly with the contact of these Arabian Sea over here, and because of which you will be seeing that these slopes are very steep in nature. When we are talking about the you can say western coast, the slopes are very you can say kind of steep. These are called as escarpments. Okay, So these are escarpments. When we talk about the Eastern Ghats, you will be seeing that there are broad beaches which are there. Okay, so that is because over here we have not seen that kind of erosion till now. Okay, so that is there. Now when we talk about the Western Ghats are divided into various parts over there. Shahadris are there, then you can say in the south we have the Malabar hills, etc. So that is there, we will be talking about that later. Right now we will be focusing on the Central Highlands and the Deccan Plateau. Okay, so let's talk about this over here. One more thing I would like to tell you over here, that you must have heard about the Garo, Khasi and Jaintia hills over here. These Garo, Khasi and Jaintia hills are there, or the Shillong Plateau or the Meghalaya Plateau. This is the extended part of this plateau only. Okay, there is this gap which is there. That gap is called as the, you can say, Garo Rajmahal gap. Okay, so please remember this. Here we have this Garo Rajmahal gap. Rajmahal is basically when you talk about the Chota Nagpur Plateau. Okay, in Jharkhand we have the Chota Nagpur Plateau. This eastern edge of the Chota Nagpur Plateau, this is also some kind of escarpment which is there. Okay, so this escarpment over here is called as the Rajmahal hills. And these Rajmahal hills are basically, you can say, this is your Rajmahal. Then we have here Garo hills which are there. So Garo and Rajmahal, that is why it is called as the Garo Rajmahal gap. Okay, I hope that is clear. Now coming to the some parts over here. Here you can see the Central Highlands has been divided into Malwa Plateau, then Bundelkhand Plateau, then we have Chota Nagpur Plateau which is also there. So here you can see minor plateaus which are there. Marwar Plateau which is over here in the areas of Rajasthan, South Rajasthan. Okay, then Central Highlands which are there, basically this is basically your Central Highlands. Bundelkhand Uplands which has been seen over here. Malwa Plateau which is over here. Then we have Baghelkhand over here, Chota Nagpur which is over here, and the Meghalaya Plateau which is over here. Okay, so these are the, you can say, minor plateaus which are there. Now coming moving further, we are having this Deccan Plateau which is a integral unit which is there, but we can be dividing on the basis of the different regions. So here you can see we have Karnataka Plateau which is over here, then we have Telangana Plateau which is here, and then this is the Dandakaranya, okay, which is there in the you can say the parts of you can say Odisha somewhere. So we have this Dandakaranya. Now here you can say Maharashtra Plateau which is over here, this is Maharashtra Plateau. Karnataka Plateau which is this, that is the Mysore Plateau is also known as. Then Telangana Plateau, this is over here. Then Chhattisgarh Plains or the Chhattisgarh, sorry, not Dandakaranya, basically part of your, some part of Odisha and the Chhattisgarh. So that is your Chhattisgarh Plains. So tomorrow also we will be talking about this only. We will be talking about some of the facts over here with respect to this. So this is the division when we are talking about the plateau regions in India. I hope that is clear. Handouts of the today's topic. So basically we are giving you the PDF of this session in the Telegram group. You can get the link which is there in the description. So we have a link which is of our Telegram channel, and we will be sharing the PDF of this session over there. Okay, so I hope that is clear. Now practice question which was given to you in the previous session, that was, which country is largest coffee producer in the world? India, Vietnam, Brazil or Colombia? So option C is your right answer, that is Brazil. Okay, after Brazil we have Vietnam. Then coming to the last part of the day, that is practice question for your prelims, which you have to attempt today and answer to me in the comment box. So here you can see, which of the following Indian state does not share a border with Nepal? Bihar, Sikkim, Assam or Uttar Pradesh? Okay, so you can attempt this question and answer to me in the comment box. With that, I would like to take your leave. I'll see you in the next session. Till then, have a good day. Thank you, and please subscribe to the channel.